Okay, welcome to Silicon versus Silver Screen Part 2. Venkatesh, please take over from this point.
Thank you, Uday. Yeah, it's a wonderful concept, and like it's just a continuation of the last week. And uh, like I said, both the screens are important. And when it comes to technologies or the advancement of the cinema, I would say these silver screen or the small screens are the one of the good uh, thing which we have, because we can easily reach out those things like a mobile or tablet or anything. So yes, it's one of the thing. But when it comes to production or anything, I would say we need to invest more. And since it has a lot of technical stuffs when compared to the bigger screen, and also the cinema has gone through a plenty of evolution, like from the reels now it's also digitalized one. Because previously, when you remember, uh, a movie used to come in reels, film reels. Now it's not like that, it's getting transmitted directly. So yes, side by side both are getting developed. But when we say as a future of cinema, I think both should go hand in hand.
I think it's both are important because for the freshers who have done freshers for fresher filmmakers, they can invest the money in terms of money. They can invest anything. I mean, something for the movie. They will get it in OTT means good. And according to the silver screen, I think silver screen for a freshers filmmaker is difficult. If subject is good in that, they can make some money in that investment. They can recover. But when they release no films and all, in that time that superstars movie will be released means it will affect for them. If the content is fresh, then also it will affect. But when silicon screen is there means that movie will be recognized in that platform also. uh, and if you are a filmmaker, you will definitely wanted to see I mean your film in a silver screen only, because that is the main goal for everyone. For the safety, for the recovery, uh, we will use that silicon screen. For my point of view, what I have seen, no, in Kannada movie is called Diya. I think you have seen that movie. It will not get any recognition in theaters, less recognition it get. But you during the lockdowns, after it appears in silicon screen, it get a very good recognition after that. So for me, it's both are important. But yeah, for freshers and less budget movies, silicon screen will get more recognition.
Do you really think that is a better idea than a silver screen? Because even in silver screen, if you are running for 1 or 2 days, that is itself a very big achievement for a filmmaker. Whereas in OTT or semi-digital or digital films, really see that there are a huge lot of content which you have to, go in hand with, and there might be a probability that every movie may not be a Dia.
Yeah, sure.
So in that case, do you still think that OTT platforms or silicon screens are better options for a fresh filmmaker?
I don't think that it's better for filmmakers, because at the end of the day, every filmmakers will go for a recovering purpose. For them, I'm saying for them, the film will not go in a theaters, which not good data theaters. They can earn, I mean, recover that amount in silicon screen. That point of view, I'm suggesting. I mean, saying.
So, Venki, my question was, when we talk about silicon screens, somewhere are we talking about the craft itself, or we are only talking about the economics that will define silver screen and silicon screens? Are we talking about economics?
Academics or economics? I mean, I'm not able to get your voice.
Sorry. Are we talking about economics, that is finances of the film?
Yes, Sudhir. When you go with the economic or the budget of the movie, whether it's a silicon screen or a silver screen, uh, it plays a major role, because uh, if you are going for a silver screen, you need a good producer in it, because the budget again will be more than what you invested. If it is, for example, like let's take, I got a good producer first for my movie, so there comes my budgeting, whether I can release that movie in the uh, in the theaters or in OTT platforms. So when I go with OTT platforms or anything, there are as a film. I mean, when I'm doing my first movie, I won't take that risk or huge step in investing more money, because I don't know what result it will come or what will be my response on it. So first step, I will look for what is cheaper or what is free, in the sense like YouTube, where you can release your movie because it's free of cost. However, when you go to silver screens, you have to invest for that particular slot which you are booking. Like there will be different slots, like prime time slots or morning show, early morning show, or night show, etc. So you have to book that particular slots, and based on the slots, you will have that rate difference. So then, if you're very well able to get your amount in that particular thing and you are able to spend it, it's fine that you can go ahead with it. But I think the major thing will be the financials. As you said, there will be like, I have to invest maybe like for example 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs for hitting that screen, but I can do it. I can complete my entire short film in 500 to 5,000 in when I hit the smaller screens.
So just this
And
question goes
sorry to interrupt you. And not only the budgeting, it also comes the technical part, because if you're releasing your movie in a bigger screen, that is the on theaters, your resolution should be good. The video resolution should be good, because if you shoot, for example, if you are shooting a movie in a mobile and you're screening it in theaters, sometimes what happens is that you will get the pixelated on it, so your entire video quality gets out. So there you will have that audience to get loose of it. They will come and say they won't, and how, no matter how good is that movie, end of the day the critic will be like, the movie was good, but the video quality was so poor, or the audio quality is such poor. You'll get those critics. So I think when you're going, it's about how you plan your things, because if you're planning for a bigger screen, then you have to also have a good sound technical things in your budgeting or film making it.
Sujit, recently you have made short film Kade Chitra Kade. Tell me, how much did you spend
Yeah.
on this movie? That is one. Second thing is, what are your plans? Are you going for OTT or a free platform like YouTube? Number three, are you expecting returns from this movie?
No, sir, no. Actually, we have spent nearly 20K, including everything. and we are looking for to release in YouTube only, because it's a small experiment learning we have did that movie. For that purpose, we are releasing in YouTube only. Yeah. Then you know that our next part will be coming. After that, we are planning for big thing. I don't know what will happen in the future.
When you say big thing, are we talking about silver screens or OT?
Right now, I'm working on a big story. I mean, feature film story. So let's see. Because what we have did no, I mean, in this short film, we have earning. I mean, investment problems and investment problems, and now we are trying to do with the big thing, because this is just like a trailer for next big thing. Because how we work, we don't, I mean, if investor see means, if investor see means, he has to give the money, right? If such qualities we have means, then only we can ask them like, we did this thing, and we are wanted to do the big thing in next. So we, for that we have did this Chitra Kate as a short film. Yeah. Still I'm working on the subject, which will go for a feature concept, and I'm looking for a producer. It will, this process will go on, sir. I mean, first I want to complete this project. I'm looking for a small budget film. So one area, in particular one area, that story will starts and story will end.
So we are talking about one area. When you say one area, is it one area you are going to release, or the one area, one location that you want to complete movie?
The shooting location, sir, because in a particular, if we did in particular areas, it will cost more and more and more. So if you have planned in one particular region, like in our, we have shooted that film in our native only. So we are planning here to shoot that whole uh, thing for next upcoming project.
Venki, since we have come to a conclusion that ultimately silver screen is the ultimate, and all the digital platforms are just mere experimentation, as Sujit also claims that he's making a short film to understand his skills and to showcase his skills to the producer or the financier. Now, my question is, since you are a producer yourself, how much a short film will help anyone to gain producer? Is that the mark of their skills or what?
Uday, to be fact, no matter I do 100 a short film or 150 short film or even 2-3 short films, it all depends on how you work or what is your culture. It's like you can be theoretically strong, like yes, I can be a good when you write a script, yes, you will visualize it like, yeah, this movie is going to be a pakka movie. But when you shoot, it's something which is different. So I would say that these, yes, short films and the work which you do, each and every projects are your experience. You can't be 100% correct in each and everything. Small things you will learn from one film or the way you do it. So yes, when it reaches to a bigger screen or a bigger producer, first these are the experience which you have to tell, like not. So when you approach a producer, it will be like, the based on your talk, where he can judge whether you have an experience in, you have experience in the sense, are you do you have any what is it, stuff with you and you're approaching it. So that would be the stuff, because there are few people who lot, no one will go and tell you like, see, I have made 500 films, these are my list, and even if you give 500 movies or 4 or 5 movies, to that particular producer, I barely promise that he will go through each and every movie. He is not going to look at each and every movie. Based on your work or based on your conversation, he will come to a mindset whether is he valid or is he talking correctly. Is he having that particular knowledge? Is he having that particular confidence in his script? That matters. And how you get this? You when you do a lot of movies, like your own movies, before approaching a producer. In the sense, when you become you have to become a producer when you're doing a short film. So based on that, you will get your confidence, and when you see or approach a producer, that confidence will automatically reflect to you, because end of the day he is going to invest the money on your movie, and investing a money to an unknown person is really hard. So there is where your stuff comes in. So I don't think yes, a portfolio will be good, but I won't say that I will go I would look all my portfolio, because I would get 10 10%, 11% in a day who is approaching me for producing a movie. So I won't go with all the 11 people will give me 10 each, means it comes around 100 plus. So I cannot watch 100 plus movie and then I'll call up and say no. Yes, as if I'm a producer and a young director or anyone is approaching me, first it starts with your synopsis and how you present to that particular producer. There comes a bigger scale, because there is that is where the producer will really think whether you have an experience or not.
In short, the short films will help to upgrade your knowledge, but then that might not be the case when it comes to uh, opportunity grabbing. That's what you want to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just since you are a short filmmaker and as of now you are in trials of finding a producer, how much do you accept with Venki?
Yeah, I'm completely accept because how we present, no, it's important because when we make a film, if we have a team and we have to make a film means in one person have a good story, how he present to us, no, it's a more important thing. Being a short film makers, we have a bunch of people who are with us, and once we make a movie, if somebody in our team who has a story that he said, I wanted to make this film in in under our team, and first what we do, we just ask him a story, tell the story what is it, and how he say no. If they are impressed means then only we will going to do that film. If you are not, not impressed with completely, then we will go with a script and we will add some interesting things, and by discussing the people with people, then it will go on. So yeah, it's a very important how he presented the story and how much he very confident with that script, and how that script will going to affect the people's, like according to subjects, which subject he has chosen. Everything is important, sir.
So the question goes to Venki. Venki, if you remember, I think last week we have reviewed a short film called There Is No Land. This No Land. Remember that?
There's no land. Yes.
It is a Wild West short film, and you see a unique color tone, a unique clarity, a unique ideology. There is a lot of potential filmmaking stuff inbuilt into this film, and yet this was released on YouTube. One, why do people, with that huge skills, upload their films on YouTube? That is one thing. Second thing is, most of our movies that are Indian amateur short films are not of that caliber. Why do we lack that caliber?
Yes, I agree that particular movie. This No Land is almost like a feature film, and like it was almost like seeing an Hollywood stuff in it. But I don't know what I don't want to comment on why that film was released in YouTube, but generally uh, the thing is it's easily approachable. Like when you upload in YouTube, even like not a common person will upload his video in YouTube because everyone is so the knowledge about them is like, yes, if I have a video, I have to if I want to publish it, I have I can create one channel, I upload that. That's a mindset. But when you go to when you go to a bigger screens, first you need first you need a good producer. Second, the distributor should be uh, accepting it. Third, the slot comes in. And fourth, how much days my movie will run in that particular thing, or how much shows will they screen my movie, which are not at all there when I do it in YouTube, because I am the owner of anything. uh, Based on my subscriber, I can reach n number of movies, or like if I have a good contacts, or if I have a lot of contacts or my lot of friends with it, word of mouth, or easily there is no third person, or I don't want to book one particular slot. My movie won't be releasing or for one day 4 shows only, not like that when it comes to uh, YouTube or any other OTT platform. It's irrespective. I can watch irrespective of my timings. I can pass it now in between. I go and go back, and whenever I have time, I can come back in, which is not at all practically seen in that. So these are the few advantages when you have it in OTT or other things when it compared to the silver screens. Coming to the second question, why don't we have a good quality of Indian filmmakers compared to the foreign filmmakers? See, I would say it is not how we. There is no bigger things like uh, we are also having the same brain, and we are also having the same eye. We are having the two eyes, and they are also having the same two eyes and same body structures. But when it comes to thinking, or when it comes to application, I would say that is the difference between both. Because even in a lot of filmmakers, Indian filmmakers, you can see there is uh, uh, a good director like Shankar who has his own way of doing those movies. And there are also small uh, uh, there are some directors like you have Perarisu, or who did some movies like Sivagasi and stuffs. So it completely depends on that particular person, and all the foreign films are not very good, but there are few people. It's up to how he is going to visualize and how he is going to bring that script into visualization. That is the matter of the way it is. In short, I would say if you are a filmmaker, your script should be the hero rather than your casting. If your script is hero, then you have 90% you have achieved your movie. Remaining 10% is how you get that work from your cast or from your technical stuffs. That depends on it.
Yeah.
And there is another difference. I would say that uh, lot of in as per my experience, I have seen lot of people are compromising it. Like, if I'm not able to get this shot, I will compromise that. Even small props which is essential in that particular scene, I get compromised. So small things which you get compromised. When you compromise in your movie, then no matter how it is, it will never work out. When you are making a movie, this should be the first, this should be the primary rule, that I should not compromise. No matter what happens in my movie, I should not get compromised in that. When you are strong in that, definitely I think you will have that easier or better ways of it. There's a lot of things, like small like dresses, or the when you have your hero, like for example, if he's an army man, you will see the person not having that correct look, where what looks like an army man. And they unnecessary stuffing of that movie, like you like, army man will have a family background which is nowhere related to that main story which you're going to convert or you're going to tell. So those are the few branches where you have to look into it, which the makers are missing it out, because they don't have that stages. Like when you go with the filmmaking thing, you have 3 stages of a movie: pre-production, production, and a post-production. Lot of people are missing that pre-production work. When you have a good pre-production work, which means like not only the scripting, you will have the storyboarding, which plays very important, because that's where you will come to visualization. Like, what will be you will be visually drawing those each and every shot. So then you will come to know whether this is apt to my visualization or not. If my storyboarding is not satisfying me, then I have to make my changes in my movie, because that is the storyboarding is the first visualization of any filmmaker. And I believe that 80% of the people are not doing the storyboarding itself. I have a concept, I will go up that, I will shoot. That is the thing, and they end up messing it around.
So just as Venki said, there are a lot of stages where you make your short film, come to life. That is production, pre-production, and post-production. Which, according to you, was the most toughest thing to do when you are doing your movie?
So there is no toughest stage, sir, because it depends on you how you will prepare for the film. If you did a good work at pre-production work, it will easy for you in production and post-production work. Because what you have seen, no, I mean, in our projects, we work less in pre-production works, so it will cost us more and more time in production and production work. So it's a very easy thing. Filmmaking is an easy thing, but you have to spend a more time in what you have in your hand. I mean, script, and what your visualization. You have to work it first, and we have to set the technical team before only. I mean, before the shoot production work. In pre-production works, what the thing, I mean, technical team, and it depends on music directors or editors or something. Everything, and how you visualize which takes you have to take. I mean, what are the things you have to do? It should be, if you did before only, the plan you did before only, it will be easy process. According to my experience, I mean, freshers and filmmakers, they have to work on pre-production works. It is the best way to do the filmmaking.
This is the very first time I'm hearing a filmmaker saying that
Hello.
filmmaking is not so tough.
Yes, Sudha, like filmmaking is not tough. it's art, you know, like not everyone becomes a sculptor, sculpture. Like you have to have that particular thing what you're going to idealize. So not the majority of them think that I have a concept and I have a mobile phone, I am a filmmaker. No, boss, not like that. It's not that. It's an art. It's an art, I would say.
I see today we have a very bad connection going on. Hopefully next episode we have a good connection because this episode I think we have a lot to edit.
Yeah. More work to you.
So I think Sujit is having a very bad connection. Let's conclude the program.
So when it comes to conclusion, like whether silver screen or a silicon screen, uh, I think when as a filmmaker, uh, don't end up or don't go to a direct end product of where I'm going to release it. No matter whether you are releasing it in your smaller screens or a bigger screen, the work you do is going to speak. So if you have a good budget or if you have a good confidence that yes, I'm going to do that and I can financially support to release my movie in a bigger screen, definitely yes, you can go. But don't never once you have decided it, never get compromised on your, there should not be any second thoughts on it. So when it comes to filmmaking, yes, there is not there is no end whether silver screen will take over or the cynical screen will take over silver screens. No, there are few people who are thinking, yeah, maybe they might be thinking it, but no, we are developing with the technologies. Technology should help in making more movies. That's how, as a filmmaker, I would suggest that yes, I have my technology. How I'm going to implement that technology in my movie, that is going to be my handy thing. So both goes hand to hand, but like every filmmaker, a dream is that his name at least should come once in a bigger screen. But don't directly go as a beginner. Don't try the bigger screen first, because you have to have that learning curve where you have to experiment a lot of things before you go and hit your bigger screen, because there are a lot of risk factors involved.
So we started with this topic, silver screen versus silicon screens. Venki has just told what his ideas about silicon screen and digital screens, where he has worked in both. It's really great to talk to people who work with digital screens as well as silicon screens. But then when I personally talk about silicon screens and digital screens, I always see this thing called adaptation. Adaptation is the most important thing for any screen. Number one is the understanding. I mean, it doesn't matter which screen it is, but then as a filmmaker, we have to understand adaptations, how we are going to adopt these new techniques or the old techniques. Uh, it is all about technicality of the film and the clarity of the film that we are going to produce, and the understanding of how exactly you want to present your viewer with visualizations. And on contrary, we should also think about financial expenditures that we are going to spend on. I think silver screens are getting costlier every day, and digital screens are getting cheaper every day. But then we should also understand the making of the film is getting costly when you compare filmmaking 10 years from now, and I'm sure it will be much costlier in coming days. On contrary, if we are talking about digital screens, things are getting a little bit too cheap things are getting, the content is getting more and more every day. So definitely, yes, digital screens are a bit ahead of silver screens. But then when we talk about content, I'm sure silver screens are the ultimate because they have a censorship going on, and digital screens are not yet censored, though we do see a lot of unwanted censorship going on in digital screens. But then I wish there is a day where we can have a bridge between these silver screens and silicon screens. I mean, a combo of both silver and silicon screens where we can watch our movies on the time we wish to watch it. And there is a technology where things get a bit more combo between these two grounds. And definitely, I think silver screen or digital screen doesn't matter. But then we, I think, should adopt both technologies simultaneously so that we can understand which screen to work with and which screen can, grab more audience to you. So with that, the, um, I think we'll conclude that as of now, silver screens are biggest screens we can watch our movie. The experience we gain on silver screen is nothing to compare with the silicon screens we see. So ultimately, the filmmaking has to go on towards a technological advancement. And yes, as a filmmaker, no matter which screen you're going to work on, you still have to work on your production, post production, and pre productions. So as a filmmaker, it doesn't matter which screen you are working for, then it is your job to produce much better movies every time you produce a movie. With that note, let's conclude this program. Thank you, Venki. Thank you, Sujit. And thanks everyone who watched.